Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Blažek. Let me introduce to you the project called in Czech Nositel tradice, in English the bearer of folk craft tradition. The recommendation on safeguarding the traditional and folk culture issued by the 25th UNESCO General Conference in 1989 has become the basic document of the contemporary form of the traditional handicraft protection. The above document calls on the member states to pay their heightened attention to the traditional folk culture protection in their countries and to support all forms of research and documentation, especially those of its intangible parts, as confirmed by the conclusions from the session of the UNESCO experts from Central and Eastern Europe held in Czech town Strážnice in 1995. The fulfillment of the recommendations content has different forms in view of the different situation in individual countries. In Czechia, the work concentrated mainly on documenting the important elements of folk culture. At the National Institute of Folk Culture, some voluminous cycles of documentaries were put together in this connection. Let's mention folk handicraft and folk craftsmanship in Czechia. This project documents the phenomena of traditional folk culture, making it accessible to the public. The personal contact with artisans by shooting the documentaries disclosed the circumstances of the current artisan's work. The Center of Folk Art Manufacture disintegration brought namely not only the end of central management, professional supervision and artistic influence over the creation, but also the breakup of manufacture hinterland, contacts and distribution network. The manufacturers had to rely on themselves, which often became evident in lack of creative disciplines, leaving the traditional patterns and technologies and in problems of subsistence and therefore liquidation of manufacture. Under such circumstances, the idea to create a national program focused on the traditional handicraft protection and support was developing gradually. That idea was inspired by the UNESCO project Living Human Treasures, with its complete program relating to the protection of traditional culture phenomena threatened with extinction. Under the name Folk Craft Tradition Bearers began in 2000 a project whose aim was to award the artisans who master the unique and with extinction threatened folk techniques and to make them known to the public. Along with safeguarding those techniques, they take an active part in promoting and handing down these techniques to their students and followers. Pursuant to government decree, the title Folk Craft Tradition Bearer ranks among the prizes awarded by the Ministry of Culture of Czechia. The title can be awarded to a citizen of Czechia who runs a traditional folk craft. The title can be awarded annually, usually on the occasion of the European Heritage Days, to 5 persons within 1 calendar year at the most. How to win the title? Natural persons and legal entities It is every citizen of Czechia. Unincorporated associations or institutions can make a suggestion for the award. It is necessary to keep the given volume, form and deadline for the nomination that is to be submitted by 31st of December for the following year at the National Institute of Folk Culture. The nomination is to be drawn up in 2 printed copies and 1 electronic copy, and its integral parts are as follows: carrier CV, aimed at the protection of manufacture branch tradition, description of technique and morphology of the made products, information about the ability to hand down the acquired professional knowledge and skills to the followers, information about the participation in shows, exhibitions and special fairs with traditional folk crafts, or about other activities concerning the traditional handicraft protection, written approval of the nominated person to the documentation made for the files at the National Institute of Folk Culture, photo documentation of the products or other materials and their brief description, the model documentation that is a part of the methodological instruction to suggest the title Folkcraft Tradition bearer, and that shall make the suggestion working out easier, can be found in its full wording on the internet. The Commission for the Selection Procedure of the Ministry of Culture may, when allocating a state subsidy to promote traditional folk culture, take into account the fact that the project under evaluation was submitted by the bearer. Tradition bearer trademark. Since its origin, the title Folk Crafts Tradition Bearer has a graphic logo that is also its trademark, registered at the Industrial Property Office of Czechia. The trademark was lent to individual holders free of charge and based on a license agreement. The use is temporary and non-transferable. In accordance with the agreement, the use relates mainly to labeling both the own products and those which were made under the direct supervision of the bearer. The task of the trademark is to point out to a customer that an artisan awarded with a prestigious title that guarantees its uniqueness and quality made the object. Brief information about the sense of title awarding is written on a paper label with the addresses and the logo which indicates the product. The trademark thus becomes the guarantee for quality and artisanship value of the product. Engineer-architect Magdalena Žičná, who has designed both the two-color and the multicolor look, is the author of the logo's graphical appearance. At the same time, she started elaborating the first manual for the trademark presentation. Besides various graphical details, the manual deals especially with the way how to use the trademark on graphic design, business cards and product labels, but also how to mark the products by putting a stamp on clay, leather, wood and metal. The always wider use of the logo for the presentation of title holders caused also gradual extension and quality increase of the manual. Upon the recommendation of traders with handicraft products, the inscription folk art has been added into the trademark, pointing out the foreign customers that the product is of folk art origin. Simultaneously, the big label was completed with the Czech-English text explaining the principle and the importance of the title awarding. Packaging. The endeavor at the unified effect of awarded title, logo and trademark by presentation of products made by awarded artisans caused the development of a graphic manual for packaging. The design's author, Master of Arts Katarzyna Veviorova, elaborated the manual when taking into account the needs to pack different kinds of products which are put into different sachets, bags, cases, boxes and caskets, but also without wrapping paper. The task of the design is not to create a specific packaging, but to use unified graphic design for as wide assortment of available packing as possible. The graphic design with a simple and clear impression repeats the logo and the trademark along with small symbols, tongs, a shoe, a jug, a goblet, etc. with define the individual groups of materials, metal, leather, clay, glass, etc. The range of colors using red, blue and white colors corresponds with the color of the title logo, creating a sufficiently broad spectrum for packaging of objects with various surface treatments. Resume. Along with the intensive documentation of traditional handicrafts, an idea encouraged by the UNESCO project Living Human Treasures has matured, namely to create a national program focused on protection and support of traditional crafts. Under the name Folkcraft Tradition Practitioners, developed a project in 2000 whose objective was to appreciate and draw attention to the makers who know the unique and endangered folk craft techniques on the high level and take an active part in promotion and transmission of those producing processes to their pupils and successors. In 2001, the first group of 5 makers was appreciated and the number increases by some others each year. Up to date, 83 handicraftsmen have been awarded the title and the nomination of next makers are prepared. Along with presentation ceremony are arranged exhibitions focused on the work of the makers awarded the title Tradition Practitioner. The rich attendance and the concern of coming visitors strengthen our opinion that the title and its holders are brought to the always wider notice of the public, which contributes to the propagation and promotion of traditional handicrafts in our country. I would like to thank to Mr. Director Folk for invitation and everybody for your attention.